All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Paul Dauphin. I am the Deputy State Director for the Louisiana Federation for Children. Welcome to our webinar. I hope everyone is in good health. The reason why we're having this webinar, of course, is because of the school closures during this COVID-19 outbreak. So hopefully everybody is in good health. We're going to go approximately 30 minutes with this webinar. The basic format will be, we have two main presenters. They will do their presentations, and then we will turn it over to Q&A, and there will be a method for you to get your questions in. You'll see at the bottom of the screen on your computer or your phone, there is a Q&A button, and you would press the Q&A and ask your question. Amy Eccles, who is on this call, and she is on our staff, our LFC staff, will get those questions and relay it to the host, who is Tiffany Crawford, who is there. Also, during this call, I will shoot out a couple of very quick polling questions for you. And also, we will give you links, a key link to some of the information that we're sharing, and that will be in your chat box. So you'll hit the chat button to see that, but you'll get a notification on that button when something is happening in chat that you need to see. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our host, our Director of Grassroots here in Louisiana, Tiffany Crawford. Take it away, Tiffany.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I am so excited to co-host this webinar with my colleagues and friends as we come together to help each other navigate our new reality. One of the most important aspects of my job is to interact with parents to make sure that they're getting the support that they need, and to make sure that our schools are doing everything that they can to support our parents. And so for the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to talk to many parents, educators, friends, colleagues. And although it has not been an easy time, the importance of us pooling our resources and coming together as the community is essential. With that being said, I'm so happy to introduce our panelists, two of the brightest minds in the education community, Ms. Keisha Wright, a teacher development specialist at Einstein Charter Middle School in New Orleans, and Bruce Hermey, the director of schools partnerships for the American Federation for Children. Keisha has served in numerous capacities in the school system for over 25 years. She has been a teacher, principal, and child program director. Bruce has also served in a variety of various capacities, a teacher, a dean of students, principal, and the list goes on. And I want you to please take some time and check out their bio. It was sent with the webinar information. I will tell you, I've reached out to both of them and have been in contact with them because they have such a vast knowledge of what is necessary to kind of support your child as they navigate their new reality. And also they have a ton of resources that'll be helpful to parents. So we really wanted to get them together to be able to come and talk about our new reality. And the overarching question is, how do we support our children and give them the tools that they need to thrive during COVID-19 school closures? And so Keisha, I guess I'll start with you. As you know, many of our parents are home and are homeschooling. What advice do you have on fine-tuning your home, and what kind of education strategy can you give to our parents listening?
Well, good afternoon. I know parents have been overwhelmed within the last few weeks, being in the position of having to homeschool their students. And basically what I would suggest is that you set a schedule. You want to set a schedule, you want to try to stick to it, but you want to make sure that you're able to assist your child with the work. A lot of schools have set up the distance learning where students can log into Google Classroom to receive their assignments. In addition to, schools have provided packets, they've provided laptops and all of those resources. And I know it can be a bit overwhelming for parents. So one of the best things I think you could do is take a deep breath, communicate with your child's teacher. Most teachers are communicating through Class Dojo in some schools and or via email. So it's okay to reach out to teachers when it's something that you don't understand. I've also shared a list of resources. A lot of schools already have various programs that they're using, and these programs have extended parents the opportunity to visit the website and to observe videos and things of that nature so they can become familiar with the curriculum that their children will be definitely using. But what we want parents to understand is you're not alone. Just because we are not in the building, we have given our contact phone numbers, emails, so we don't want you to feel like it's you and your child and you don't have access to schools. We are there for you to reach out. There are videos that are available through various websites. Your children and the teachers will share those various curriculum programs with you. I know that Paul has also placed those free online instructional resources that we've all discussed as well. So just feel free to reach out. Don't stress, don't panic. As I stated, set your home up for a school environment. Have a set area where the children can know when they come to this area, it's time to work, but you also want to balance it with a little play as well. So you'll find websites there that have academic programs where the children can play games while they learn as well. But the best thing you can do, parents, is take a deep breath, relax, and know that you're not alone. We are here to support you.
And Keisha, that is excellent advice for our parents. I do want to kind of throw something out here because we've seen on the news as we've studied, and of course parents have reached out to us. What about those parents that do not have access to the internet or do not have access to online resources? What are some things that we can do to kind of support them or help them, or what can they do? What kind of access, what kind of things can they tap into to help their children?
Well, I know that a lot of schools did give away packets, and I know for us, we provided a website as various schools did. So if you don't have computer access or internet access, there are packets that you can pick up from most schools. So I would advise parents to reach out to your child's teacher and or administrator. If you're communicating with them through Class Dojo or by text, reach out, because I know we've been going in and providing packets for those parents that do not have that access.
That's great. Also, I know you mentioned about, you mentioned designating a place in your home for your child to study and for your child to get their lesson. What other things can we do in a home to create a more friendly learning environment for our children?
Well, another thing is we don't want to overwork the children. A lot of Google Classroom teachers have set times where they're teaching, but they're also videoing those lessons. So if the students miss them, it's okay, they can log in. But also for parents, we want you to know if you're able to access those free online resources, you can create that daily schedule. Be flexible, because we know that many parents are balancing working from home themselves. So you have to balance taking care of family members and ensuring that your work is done. If there's only 1 or 2 computers in the home, but yet there are 3 children, then you certainly have to create a schedule to balance that time so each child can definitely have that time. But I would also suggest plan fun activities as well. Get them outside. We know that they can't touch playground equipment, but get them outside, maybe active to riding their bikes, providing designated times for snack and some extracurricular activity, but basically creating a schedule and understanding that you want to stick to that schedule as much as possible, because we're creating a new norm for our children, and we want them to have a sense of understanding that school is still in, it's still important. And we would be entering the 4th quarter at this time, so there's still a lot of information that students need to be made aware of in order to be prepared when they advance next year to the next grade.
Thank you so much, Keisha. And parents, I hope you're getting all this information. And I want to remind you that you are able to submit questions. So if there are questions that you need to ask based on the information that we are getting and giving to you, please feel free to go to your Q&A button and ask those questions so we can get your questions answered. I guess I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and get Bruce on the line. I know he's been waiting with bated breath to talk to our parents and add information. And so Bruce, do you want to chime in, add anything to what Keisha has said before we go to doing different activities and stuff and talking about activities we can do with our children outside the classroom?
Sure, Tiffany, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and I hope you're all well at home, those of you who have the opportunity to join us. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here quickly, and hopefully, can you all see what just popped up there? Is there a couple PowerPoint slides that materialized? Good, okay, so just talking quickly about, activities and approach for at-home schooling. Keisha mentioned some of this. The schools have already given out learning platforms or packets. And if you're a parent trying to navigate your way at home on how to handle this situation, if your school is giving you information, start there first. Hopefully what they're giving you, Keisha mentioned, we're entering the fourth quarter, the continuation of standards and skills that the kids should be learning at this time. And it's also a good way to keep the kids connected to their teachers and peers if they're using Google platforms or any other Zoom platform where they can get on and interact together. If you don't have those materials, I'd encourage you to focus on foundations: math, reading, spelling, writing. Keep in mind, direct instruction should not take place for hours. Direct instruction is one facet of your child's education on a daily basis. Don't feel like you need to sit there all day and explain everything to them over and over again and teach new skills. Work on refining those skills, help consolidate, information for the kids and making it smooth and accessible for them. One other piece of advice I'd give is that 20 minutes at night prior to the next day of working with your kids, of planning, can alleviate a lot of stress and anxiety for you and your child. Put together a series of resources that you want to use the next day. Collect links or worksheets for practice or instruction. Identify what books your kids need to be reading, the chapters they should read. Pick physical activities you want to do with them. Pick art projects, fun things, as Keisha said, to do. And have this all plotted out. That helps you plan your day. It helps your kids have a sense of what their day is going to look like, and just keeps that anxiety low. It's worth the 20 minutes at night to kind of provide that. Paul and Tiffany asked me to provide some resources, and these are available on those links I gave to you. Tried to outline some basic resources for everybody here that are free or have free months or 2 months they give to parents when you register. And I've kind of broken these down by subject of those basic skills we talked about. A lot of educators and parents possibly are familiar with Khan Academy. That's a free service that has a lot of different facets to it, but they're most known for math, especially if you're dealing with high school students who are taking high-level math courses and you as a parent. I was an English major, for instance, so me teaching calculus would never be a good thing. But Khan Academy has those videos that can do that effectively for you and help your kids navigate their way through some digital learning as well. Under the reading section, I have both digital resources here. The Teacher Monster to Read is a game that kids love, little kids, primary through about 4th and 5th grade kids love that game. And then that middle axis there is Little Reader Access. So for you parents who are working with emerging readers, kindergartners, first graders, second graders, and your teacher during conferences has told you what level they're reading at. If you need those books that are leveled out, you can access examples for free right there under the level reader access. If you're interested in the arts, there's a number of different activities out there. YouTube actually is a great source for this, Art for Kids. You can have your kids make comics and write stories, which integrates the writing aspect and also the synthesis and comprehension for the kids that they'd be doing at school. And then for older kids, you can take virtual tours, various things like the Smithsonian, have them doing art projects. The link right there is for Disney projects. So if you're a Disney family, there's some good projects for kids to be doing. Finally, kids need to remain active even when they're at home or have access to their backyard or an outside area. Cosmic Kids Yoga is a fun one for the kids. My daughters, their favorite's Trolls Yoga, based on the movie. So that's a good resource there. And then remember, you know, if you don't want to do digital resources, have them staring at a screen. Take them out, have them sprint, jog, ride their bikes, scooter around, play games, sports, just depending on what your situation is. And finally, put together some general activities that kids work on. One of the things that I encourage all parents, your kids typically have responsibilities at school, no matter how old they are, things they're responsible for. If you don't continue those responsibilities at home, I'd implore you to do so. Give them chores, have them have activities daily that they know they're supposed to accomplish. Helps keep them on task, helps keep you sane, and it helps keep everybody moving in the same direction. As Keisha said, play games, have fun. You can attach math, you can attach reading, you can attach all things, board games and card games and anything non-digital for a while to keep kids away from the screen. Cooking is a great thing to do with your kids. It's a life skill, teaches measurement, time telling, exploration, health and nutrition. A lot of that goes into it, and it's just sharing your general knowledge of how to do it. Life skill course for older children. I'm a former high school English teacher and dean, so I would like to include things for the high schoolers. One of the things I wish we'd do more of in our high schools is teach financial literacy skills to our kids before they're eligible for credit cards and college. Khan Academy has some great resources that you can use to teach basic finance to your kids through videos and online coursework. Those high school kids too, it's never early to start looking at collegeboard.org to start learning about the SAT, ACT, college application process, and what it's going to take for apply and enroll in schools. Finally, just some general activities, 101 indoor activities for kids and an indoor scavenger hunt. This goes to that fun portion. It's also a way for you to give the kids something to work on that allows you to balance your work life while they're working there too. So Tiffany, those are just some basic resources that I'd share. A lot of these are listed in our links that he already gave, and it's just a quick overview of some ways some parents interact with their kids and provide for them during this time.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for all of that, that information. I was reviewing our panelist list, and I see we have other educators on the line. I saw, and I just wanted to remind you all, if you all have anything that you'd like to add as we talk to our parents, feel free to raise your hand so we can get you talking as we continue to share information. And I just want to remind you all, go to that Q&A button. We have some of the brightest minds in the educational space on the line with us, and we want to use this opportunity to answer any questions that you may have. And I'm going to turn it over to Paul because I know we have a question from one of our attendees. So I'm going to turn it over to Paul to kind of field that question.
All right. And this question, and Kelly Botker, our state director, is on. I turned on her mic, so hopefully she can help me with the answer. But the question is from Angel White. What is the general feeling about meeting the time requirements? If they reopen schools before May, will the school year still end in May? Is there a possibility that the school year could continue through summer? And will kids be tested before advancing to the next grade? How will that be handled? And I can just say from news stories that I saw from yesterday that the governor is hopeful that school will start before the end of what was the new year. So Kelly, I don't know if you're on board, if you can address that in addition.
Okay, say that again, Paul. I'm sorry.
Yes, this is a question about just generally the reopening of the school year, time requirements. Let's say the school year starts in mid-May. Will there be a possibility to continue it through the summer? How will kids be tested, etc.?
Okay, so while I cannot speak for all districts, I can say as of right now, because of both what our state governor, John Bel Edwards, has done, as well as the U.S. Department of Education, school should not extend into the summer. So the amount of time that students have to attend school, as well as the amount of time teachers have to teach, has been suspended for this year, as well as state assessment. So if we do go back, we'll just continue on the track we were moving forward, and students will still get out mid-May like they typically do in the state. One. Two, I don't know whether or not at this point we will be going back to school or not. It's still kind of up in the air. As of right now, we're set to return by April 13th, but no decisions, and the governor continues to make these statements. No decisions have been made. It could be longer, or we could actually go back on April 13th. I think it's just too unknown at the moment, but I can tell you without a doubt, they won't be extended school this year in the summer.
Thank you, Kelly. I am going to mute your mic. And I have a question for both of our panelists. And basically, what type of advice, this has to do with parents and their connectivity and also access to computers. What if a parent, a family has 2 or 3 kids and 1 computer, and all 3 schools are doing some formal online instruction? How is that juggling act being handled? What are you hearing, Keisha? I'll let you address it first, and then Bruce.
I actually have some coworkers that are having that issue, and I would ask parents to communicate with the teachers directly to let them know exactly what their situation is regarding how many computers are in the home. A lot of the teachers are recording those videos on Zoom, so the students are able to view them at their leisure. And so I just expressed open communication with the teacher to have them to understand that. And I'm thinking that should not be a problem.
And Bruce?
No, I think Keisha hit that right on the head, Paul. Just communication's key. If you do have one device and your schedule's flexible during the day for your kids, they don't have to be on all at the same time. I think that's where that kind of schedule for each kid's important, to kind of rotate them through what they can be working at what time. And that includes free time, those chores we talked about, as well as the academics that go on during the day.
All right, and I just launched a quick poll for you guys to answer one quick question. And while that is being done, this question, and I'll start with you, Bruce. Basically we have on 2 ends of the scale. One, we could have a school that is offering a formal online learning program, and then you have other schools that are in the middle, and then on the other end, you'll have schools that aren't doing anything. What's your sense of how parents should deal with that, especially the ones who have schools that have no formal program? I know, you guys gave some good tips and sources, but generally, what should a parent expectation when they're in a situation like that be going forward, as we're going to quickly get to the end of what would have been the end of the school year if school doesn't come back?
Yeah, I'd just start, if you're one of those schools where you're not getting anything, I'd be emailing the administration to ask why you're not receiving anything, because you should be receiving some type of guidance from your school. If you don't have anything to work with currently, my advice is, again, stick to those basics of math, reading, spelling, writing. Pick things from your house that you have as resources, magazines, books. Ask kids to read them, do mini reports on them, write sentences using various vocab words you highlight in your resources. Make basic flashcards for math. There are a number of skills you can kind of use that don't require online resources, that don't require going out and buying books that a parent can generate on their own. I know it's more work and it's unfortunate, but that's definitely why you need to be in communication with the school if you haven't received anything yet. For those kind of middle of the road, I would just try to understand, like I said before, thinking that your kids are going to do 7 hours of schoolwork isn't realistic. You're trying to balance work and do everything you have to do to maintain your job and everyone's sanity. We all do our best. We all provide for our kids in the way we can. you know, give yourself some leeway. Don't be too hard on yourself. If one day, you know, your kids only do an hour of schoolwork, you know, it's not the end of the world. Keep them active, keep them learning in different ways. But communication with the school is absolutely key in these situations.
And we have another question from one of our parents, just kind of a follow-up question to a previous question from Angel White. She wanted to thank everyone for the information, and also wanted to know, should parents be keeping track of children's schoolwork, papers, educational studies? She also is using additional resources with her child. They have a workbook that they work in. Should she be keeping track and dating this information and having it ready to turn in to anyone? I guess I'll let Keisha answer that. Bruce,
Yes, that's a great idea. I know for those parents that are using Google Classroom, students, I mean, the work can definitely be uploaded, but it does not hurt to track the work, because we want to make sure that our students know school is still going on. The goal is to ensure that they have all of the standards and objectives covered by the end of the year, so that they are able and prepared for their next grade for the next year. So that certainly does not hurt at all. And just remain in communication with the teachers to make sure that the students are turning in the work.
I think it's always good for not only the school, but yourself and your kids to track what's being done and what they've accomplished, you know, especially when younger kids take a sense of pride in doing things and doing things well. And having that sense of accomplishment. So there's no harm in tracking it. I think, and you know, I'm not sitting in Louisiana right now, but a number of schools are still debating what's the best way to do things like grades. You know, do we move classes to pass fail? Do we basically say we're giving you this work to continue solidifying understanding and reinforce things, but you know, we're not necessarily going to move the kids forward until we can instruct in person again. So there's a lot of different conversations happening. So I think whatever you feel as a parent is best for your child right now is the best thing to do. But just continue to encourage and love your kids like you always do. And they'll come through this just fine.
thank you so very much for your participation and your information. This was a lot of information to digest. I just want to remind parents that this information will be made available through our website, and Paul will post that information so that you can see. We want to continue, the Louisiana Federation for Children, we work hard, and we want to continue to be a resource to our parents. We will be doing more webinars like this in this COVID-19 environment, and we will be continuing to call on experts like Keisha and Bruce to make sure that our parents are getting the best kind of support that they have as we navigate our new reality. And so at this time, I'll turn it over to Paul.
Yeah, I think we have, is this one more new question? Yes, we have a question, an anonymous attendee. Hello, anonymous. I was late attending. Thanks for the webinar. Teachers are not available with questions, or teachers, I'm not sure what the question means. It says teachers are not available with questions or concerns.
Is she saying that teachers aren't, they don't have contact information to reach out to their child's teacher? Is that it?
I'm not sure.
From anonymous?
And Amy says she's going to answer this question live. Yeah, Emma Wallace says the teachers are not answering their concerns. Well, that is distressing, but it's good to know. I think part of it, and I'm just speaking from anecdotally from calling, and I think you ran into it too, Tiffany, is this first week of really dealing with this closure. I got the impression that a lot of teachers were overwhelmed. So hopefully that'll subside somewhat. And for the teachers that we have contact with, as we talk to our school leaders, we'll let them know that there's a general feeling from some of the people who participated in our call today that they weren't getting enough interaction or feedback from teachers. Comments from Keisha, since you're in a school, your thoughts?
Well, we do staff check-ins every morning, and we do personal check-ins. And what I've realized during those calls, we have a lot of teachers that are dealing with sick family members. So as you stated, a lot of them are trying to adjust to a new reality, but many of them are dealing with issues of either themselves having symptoms or family members being hospitalized. And maybe teachers have not been able to make that necessary contact. So as you indicated, it would be a good idea to reach out to the head of school, directors or CEOs, to just get a feel for what may be going on, because there's so many various cases of things going on with certain teachers is what I'm hearing every day.
And I too want to add that, of course, it's important for us to continue to advocate for our children, and parents are our best advocates. So we want you to continue to stay on top of this. But just to echo some of the previous comments, teachers have been thrown into learning new platforms with, with technology. I know I'm still learning some different stuff to use as a resource with LFC. So it has been a week and a half. Teachers are learning. They are on conference calls constantly trying to make sure that they have what they need to do, especially for those that are doing online classes. So it's something that we've heard a lot of, I know, on television, but we do need to be patient. We want to advocate. We want to continue to check in, and we do want to, if our teachers are not responding, call someone else, call, the head of the schools to get that information. But just remember that everybody, it's a new reality for everybody, and teachers, life happens for everybody. So be mindful of that.
And another comment from Emma Wallace saying it's not all teachers, which is good to know, and good to recognize that it's not all teachers, because there is one that is great. If the teachers are overwhelmed, imagine the parents. Yes, we do. Some of us are not working and concerned about feeding these kids. So, and again, kudos to the schools that are, all the schools that are dealing with so much, because not only are they dealing with classroom issues, but issues with providing meals, and people are doing a good job with that.
May I address something, Paul?
Yes, please, Keisha.
Also, parents, if you've not seen it on the news, there are community feedings going on. NORD has partnered with various public schools around the city, and they are offering breakfast and lunch to students each day, Monday through Friday. I know at our site, we do it daily from, I think it's 9:30 to noon. So parents can be aware of that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think NORD is actually serving dinner at various sites. So they can log on to New Orleans Public Schools as well as NORD to get those actual addresses to those locations.
And I just placed in the chat window our web address, where the links on our website to the 2 sets of resources are. That's Louisiana, the number 4 children.org. But that is in your chat box. Do we have any more questions? Angel White says, "You guys rock." Thank you. And everyone here, we all rock.
And I want to just encourage and remind you all, please go to our website and look at these resources. Both Bruce and Keisha have sent an exhaustive list of resources that'll be helpful as we work with our young people. Please take advantage of it. I was looking at, before, as we were preparing for the webinar, I was looking at the information that both Bruce and Keisha sent, and I was like, this is a class in and of itself. So please take a look at these resources. It's a lot of support, a lot of information attached to it, and we are going to continue to do these kinds of webinars as we continue to work through what is happening in the world today. Thank you so much for participating. Panelists, thank you so much for your time, and definitely for sharing this great information.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you, everybody. That concludes our webinar, and we will have more in the future. Thank you.